Ugh, part 2 of L. Frank Baum's Oz books. And phone was like, you should do a systems update. I'm like, get out of here. I don't remember the specifics. I'm sure this frog was a cool character. But, you two are too cute. Squirrel, you're just the fluffiest. This one needs taped up a little. 14 books by L. Frank Baum. I think Ozma goes missing in this one. But actually now I remember this is a really good one. And this was where I felt like the series late in its L. Frank Baum run really got good and imaginative and weird again. Because after this came maybe the weirdest one, the Tin Woodman of Oz. This is where you find out. So the Tin Woodman got made because an enchanted axe hacked off all his limbs one by one, and he replaced it all with tin until eventually he was all tin. And but anyway, all those discarded body parts got put into a barrel. And in this one, you meet this guy who's made of the old meat parts, but is not the Tin Woodman, and it's crazy. Yeah, they didn't put him on the cover for a reason, because it would give kids nightmares. You do meet the Tin Soldier, who's a great other tin character. Like the scarecrows in this, and some sort of dragon. I remember really liking this one and reading an old copy of it all the time in Vienna, Austria, from the American International School Library. I don't remember this one, The Magic of Oz. But the wizard becomes a real wizard as the books go on, and so that adds a lot. He's only a humbug in the beginning. It is a problematic later volume. It's either this one or this one where they go through like the racial hierarchy of Oz. And L. Frank Baum, if you look into his life, could be a problematic figure on that front. And there are attitudes of the time, but Oz is just undeniably one of the great fantasy worlds for young people. If you have young people in your life, just get all these books for them, give them to them. If you have young kids, read them all to them, they're great. They continue on, there's like 40 books, but the rest are by Ruth Plumley Thompson. I used to have some of those, and then I had just one of them for a long time, and they're just, the voice is different, and it feels like, I don't know, a real slog to me. Read this is an annotated version of The Wizard of Oz. I got this when I worked at UNM bookstore, when I thought, store credit? That means free. No, it meant I would get it out of my check later. Oh, I could say put it on my student account. Oh, you have to pay that eventually. Shoot. But the result is that I have this beautiful, beautiful book. And I've learned a lot of biz about The Wizard of Oz. Yeah, I love that. I like this thing. There are a number of lesser, minor Oz works that the obsessive collector could get, and I have had some of them at one point. The Wogglebug book, Visitors from Oz. But here's one of the more official ones, kept alive by Dover Books. Though it's a little battered. Little Wizard Stories of Oz. This is like short stories of Oz characters. I remember liking this as a kid and rereading it periodically. A fun, different way to approach Oz. I've always thought it'd be cool to someday do a collection, like a short story collection, but call it fan fiction, and have it just, each chapter would be fan fiction for some different thing that I like. Because I always get like fanciful ideas about characters and so on, and just like range the whole history of art with what I did. But the Oz one I'd like to do is, I'd like to see like a deep time sci-fi featuring the character of Tick-Tock, because he's a machine man that can get turned off and wakes up at huge intervals, and I'm like, let's see the deep time of Oz. I was yelling that even before Adventure Time basically did that with ooh. Yeah, I think I've had this one since I was a kid. Crazy. For the 3 years my family lived in Austria, all the books we got were through the Dover catalog and this one bookstore called the British Bookstore. And I read through the American International School Library even when I didn't go to that school. Our adaptations, pulled these from the graphic novel section of book 1 and book 2. Scotty Young. All these books are technically my kids. Anna and I, we love reading books with you. 2009, pre-divorce. Whoa. books? Why you gotta be connected to all things of life? Well, books are. If you bring books into your life, they're like pieces of your life. The art is great. Scotty Young, good job. Also Eric Shanower and Scotty Young. Okay. Land of Oz. Many consider this, like Oz fans consider this superior to the Wizard of Oz story, but it's a great story. Different ragtag band of rogues in Oz the whole time, and they're from Oz. But Tip has a secret. Yeah, Scotty Young did a lot of this series, and Eric Shanower. And these three books are other books by L. Frank Baum. This American Fairy Tales really does read like that. In fact, I keep it with the fairy tales. There's some great, really memorable things in there. And look at the beautiful, this is a facsimile of an early edition. Decorations. Can I do the margins of my book like that? I love it. No, then my book would be so long. It's already going to be over 3,000 pages in 2 volumes. But this one is in an Oz-adjacent country, which I've always thought is really cool. I always loved Queen Zixie of Ix. Got that from Dover as a kid. This is the same copy I had back then. Oh, old calendars from my dad's. The card I wrote my kids in 2017. My dad was like this playground guy. Had this playground company. Did a calendar every year. Oh, and this is another, The Magical Monarch of Mo. This one I always thought was kind of inconsistent, but this is his very first book. Like, they say that no one sleeps, and the whole book opens with her waking up. But I remember really liking this, and I don't think I realized the significance that it was written before. And it's written in 14 stories. Yeah, L. Frank Baum. How do we regard children's writers in the larger context of literature, you know? Like, that's cool. If you get kids to like your work, you kind of have a lifelong interest from them. I am interested in how L. Frank Baum kind of strove to keep the fairy tale alive in American literature. That's cool. That's very Washington Irving in some ways, you know? Never would have considered myself a collector, in particular of Oz books, but apparently I have. Well, I really let go of a lot of stuff. I was like, I don't need to be a completist. I want to just keep the actually good stuff. And there are reasonable critiques to make of Baum. This has some of that in there. But I don't know. I'm interested in what is and who is. There's some great ones in American Fairy Tales. I remember this one about like a guy that can freeze time. Or this, oh yeah, this cover story. A girl opens up a trunk and there's a gang of bandits inside. Somehow. There's a great one about I think it's all the Beatles collecting all the coins everywhere and making a treasure inside a pump they reward somebody with. Yeah, I would say, you know, not like I'm some great person or anything like that, but my life was partly made by L. Frank Baum. You know, he was one of the main influential writers of my childhood. I read him all the time. I read C.S. Lewis all the time too, Narnia, and John Christopher, the Tripod's books, and lots of other stuff. But there was a while, particularly like 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, where it was all Oz books and stuff like that. And like Narnia, I just really wanted it to be real so bad. Dang it. Return to their new home. Prismo approved. Grow blessed. The fact is, these kiddies have decreed it. All the humans must die. Just have to accept our fates. Well, Oz. First time callers, east of the Rockies, west of the Rockies, call in. Did you grow up with Oz? Are you currently, I don't know. Yeah, maybe kids could watch this video, why not? Are you currently reading Oz and you're being shaped by it? Wow. No, I think that's cool. But I'm certainly glad I got to grow up with it, and then I got to see my kids grow up with it. And, you know, sorry the video was a 2-parter, but that's just how it rolls. It is. Do you think she has a kittenish face because she got spayed so young? You're a castrato. You're a medical freak. These books gave us Judy Garland's iconic rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which is kind of a timeless treasure. Was that thing on the golden record? I kind of think it should have been. Puts a lump in my throat to hear that every time. I'm like, I've seen this a million times. So full of yearning. Gosh darn chock full of yearning, as they say. Next, we're going to look at the Anne of Green Gables books.